Welcome to Guide to Survive. The world is a big, beautiful place, full of incredible and breathtaking sights and experiences. It's also doing everything it can to kill you, and so that's where this program fits in. Before you venture into the great outdoors, you need to learn about all of the terrifying and mystical creatures that lurk in the woods, knock on your window, and hide in your toilet. With this guide, you'll learn how to identify a would-be assailant, analyze its strengths and weaknesses, and deal with it effectively. By the end of your training, you'll be ready to take on any creep or cryptid that crosses your path. So here's to you, and the great adventure that lies ahead. Let's begin.
Target analysis. Name: unknown, but referred to as Tailypo, as well as other variations of this name. Class: Cryptid, rare and unusual feline. Habitat: forests, North America. Lifespan: unknown. Strengths: superior speed, agility, and senses. Razor-sharp claws. Naturally dark camouflage for hunting at night. Light-footed, and possesses a somewhat human intelligence. Weaknesses: nocturnal, vulnerable to conventional weapons, such as firearms, cautious when outnumbered, as well as showing obsessive and possessive traits. Overall threat level: 6. Behavior. The great North American wilderness is no stranger to large wild felines, bobcats and cougars to name a couple. Superb ambush predators, stalking their prey across mountains and through vast dense forests. However, one in particular stands out amongst its peers, exhibiting unusual and unsettling traits which have earned it the attention of many, eager to learn more of this mysterious creature. This part of the world is abundant with some of the most unique and captivating cryptids ever recorded by cryptozoologists. It is therefore quite rare to come across a creature that is, as yet, unnamed, but rather nicknamed. Perhaps not so strange, you might say, as surely this is how most beings come to be titled. However, this particular creature can speak for itself. The story goes that an old woodsman lived with his dogs deep in the woods. While out hunting for game one night, the woodsman comes across the shape of a creature that he doesn't quite recognize. Noting its thick dark fur, glowing yellow eyes, long ears, and even longer tail, it is reported to have been a similar size to that of a dog. Driven by hunger, he shoots at it, blasting off its tail before the creature retreats, screaming into the darkness. Collecting the tail, the woodsman brought it back to his cabin, cooked it up, and ate it. That same night, however, he was awoken from sleep by a scratching at the end of his bed, and a voice demanding the return of its Tailypo. Tailypo. Frightened, the woodsman calls his dogs, which chase the creature out of the cabin and back into the woods. 2 of the dogs eventually come back, however one dog doesn't return. Believing the creature gone, he returns to sleep, only to once again awake to the scratching and unsettling voice coming from the foot of his bed. Tailypo. Again, the woodsman calls his dogs to chase the creature away. Once again, it disappears into the darkness of the forest, and once again, another dog goes missing. No longer able to sleep, he sits with his one remaining dog and a weapon, hoping to wait the creature out in time for dawn. Unfortunately, the creature does return, and in a panic the woodsman orders his last dog to attack. The dog gives chase and never returns. The woodsman sits alone in his bed, daylight still hours away. Suddenly, he is set upon by the creature, pinning him down in his bed. Its eyes now blood red, staring into his. Once more it demands the return of its Tailypo, to which the woodsman, now disarmed from his weapon, and without the assistance of his dogs, the creature tears him apart. Legend says that those unfortunate enough to be wandering those forests at night might well hear the creature still calling out for its Tailypo. Tailypo. Variations of this tale change slightly depending on the region. However, the meat of the story remains the same. It is from this we are able to ascertain key information regarding this particular cryptid. Its shape, size, distinctive features, and most importantly, behavior. Considering the only recorded encounter with this creature has been at night and with no counter evidence, we can claim with strong confidence that the Tailypo is a nocturnal animal. This is not unusual within the big cat range of species, or even other feline cryptids within North America. However, this particular breed's unique qualities, and mostly unknown origins, certainly set it clearly apart. These namely being naturally yellow eyes which turn red, perhaps due to stress or as a defense mechanism, only using its claws when attacking and not its teeth, its soft-footed nature, through which it was able to sneak into the woodsman's cabin undetected by both the man and his dogs, and most incredibly, its cognitive abilities. The Tailypo was able to recognize the danger of being outnumbered, and through several instances was able to separate the woodsman's dogs before dispatching each one individually. The creature was also able to figure out how to surpass any locking mechanism that the woodsman may have had on his cabin door. Lastly, but certainly not least, it's able to communicate in human language. It's like Hannibal Lecter's spirit animal. Speaking of which, it can be speculated that the Tailypo, with its highly unusual characteristics, may perhaps be a spiritual entity. In spite of this, it is commonly believed that the Tailypo is indeed an animal rather than an ethereal presence, mainly due to its lack of any historical spiritual significance, as well as the strong physical presence it has, which can also be used against it. So while not confirmed, it is considered most likely. This creature is clearly very cunning and capable of tracking, trapping, and killing its prey with relative ease. Although, from what we know of the large feline, we can ascertain some glaring vulnerabilities. Firstly, its susceptibility to conventional weapons. The gunshot from the woodsman during their initial encounter was able to blast off its tail. Second, ironically, stems from the beast's higher cognitive abilities, namely that it is seemingly both obsessive and vengeful. Whilst any other animal, when injured, would commonly flee to escape the danger in hopes of getting away, the Tailypo sought to reclaim its lost appendage. Several times it was chased away, and several times it returned, despite the serious danger that could have come were the woodsman not a glaring idiot who didn't learn from his mistakes. This shows that while the Tailypo is clever and tactful, it is still not always able to consider a greater danger at the hands of its prey, which many baser predators in the animal kingdom can do. With the proper motivation and playing on its drive to reclaim or revenge, the Tailypo could be drawn into a trap or made to let down its guard, leading to its untimely end. Some may argue that the Tailypo was simply trying to get back its severed tail from the woodsman after being attacked, and gave him several opportunities to return it freely. This may well be true. Nonetheless, it is also worth keeping in mind that this experience with the woodsman may have left a certain impression on the creature, leading to a strong hostility towards human beings. After all, how quick would you be to forgive the person who shot and ate you? With no current information on the origins of the Tailypo, its species and history that it may have in its native country, we are left, much like the cat itself, in the dark. Nevertheless, the information we have documented have detailed quite the amazing animal. Cunning and elusive, dangerous yet vulnerable. The Tailypo, or whatever its true name may be, has proven itself a frightening opponent when crossed. Wandering those great forests, it can be easy to lose track of time. As darkness falls and hope of rescue seems slim, calling out for help may be one's only hope of survival, depending, of course, on who or what calls back from within the veil of night. Tailypo. Stratagem. So, here's the scenario. In order to source some additional lumberjack DNA for the lab's cloning department, you are sent to the great wilderness that is Appalachia in North America. Your mission is proving somewhat difficult, as it would seem local woodsmen have been tipped off to your presence and are unwilling to be hauled back to a highly secure facility and cloned indefinitely. And after all those bribes I used to grease the union reps. Typical. In any case, you've been lying in wait in a remote cabin deep in the woods. However, while out surveying the area, and armed with your JAR 19 laboratory-issued pump-action shotgun, you are startled by what you mistake for a hairy snake. Immediately, you open fire on the creature. A loud cry is heard, and rustling shakes the bushes, getting further away over time. Inspecting the area, you don't find a hairy snake, but a long, furry tail. Drawing inspiration from your hero, me, you take it as a trophy, back to the cabin. There you go about your various duties while on an away mission. I could go into further detail, but this scenario is long enough as it is. Night falls, and you've awoken to a loud scratching and a voice emanating from below the end of your bed, demanding the return of its Tailypo. Your plan of attack. Firstly, retail. Give the tail back to Tailypo. With any luck, it'll turn and leave without any further trouble. And goodness, you may have even helped improve relations with this fiendish feline. In the instance that Tailypo chooses to attack you anyway, lethal force is, as always, recommended. Secondly, furious firepower. I hope you still have your JAR 19 laboratory-issued pump-action shotgun handy, otherwise you'll have to make do with whatever sharp or blunt instrument you can get a hold of. Plus, any loss of lab property is coming out of your pay. Lure the Tailypo into sight, then closer towards you, and take your shot. You'll most likely only get one chance at this, so make it count. Thirdly, possible alternative. Perhaps you have reservations about causing any further harm to Tailypo. I blame myself. In which case, I would advise a continued audible assault. By which I mean, whenever Tailypo gets close, make loud sudden noises to frighten it off. Felines, both large and small, are easily startled by such abrupt clamour, and will flee instinctively. You may need to get creative in case it catches on to your plan before dawn arrives. Fourthly, Meow's trap. Quickly, establish a makeshift trap in order to apprehend the Tailypo. Use its own tail as bait, and stand back, as though you were trying to return it, and then spring the trap once the feline is in place. I leave its fate in your hands. At this point, I think you've earned it. Fifthly, perfect work. Come back with either the tail or the lumberjacks. Neither is not an option. Pop quiz. Question number 1. Are the Tailypo's most distinctive features its long ears and longer tail? Answer: yes. This particular feline may look similar to other cats, but its abnormally long ears and tail provide the Tailypo with quite the unique appearance. Question number 2. Will Tailypo attempt to single out its prey and confront them one-on-one? Answer: yes. A solitary ambush predator, Tailypo is vulnerable when outnumbered, and as such will work to single out its opponents and reduce the risk of being mobbed. Question number 3. Can Tailypo be found in urban environments? Answer: no. Tailypo's natural environment is in vast woodlands, far from such densely populated human habitats. Question number 4. Does the Tailypo hunt during both day and night? Answer: no. Tailypo is a nocturnal creature and will not begin hunting before sunset. Question number 5. Is it true that Tailypo is known to mimic the sounds of its human prey? Answer: no. Tailypo is known to be able to speak human languages, albeit in broken sentences, not mimic their sounds. If you scored 0 to 1, then your tail is at its end. If you scored 2 to 3, then you might be alive, but you've been feline a little jumpy lately. And if you scored 4 to 5, pawsome work. Now cat's what I'm talking about. Conclusion. Excellent work. I'd say you're ready to get out there and face whatever challenges plot against you. And if not, then don't worry. You can rewatch these survival guides as much as you like. And they're non-refundable. I'm very proud of the progress you've made, and I know you're going to take the future in your stride. I've got a good feeling about you, fantastic Mr. Fox. Good luck, and don't die!